Hi guys, this is Lydia with Also Posh Actions, and today I'm going to go over how to remove the dark circles under the eyes. We have this picture. One of our fans sent it to us and she wanted to see how I would remove this dark spots under the eyes. So I always, when I work with very fine areas like removing a little bit of a hair or eyes or anything, I always love to, zoom in into my picture. So I zoom in by pressing Option on my keyboard and then scrolling the mouse up and down. That's on a Mac. Or you can go to your navigator here and just zoom in and zoom out. Sorry, go too fast over there. So what I want to do is make a copy of my background. So I hit Command J on my keyboard. That's much faster rather than going to your layer. You can do it this way too. Layer and then duplicate layer. So now what we want to do, I already selected that, but let's say that you had your brush selected. So if you had your brush selected, then you go and select your patch tool. So if you click on that, nothing happens. So you have to right click on that. Then you have all this options, spot healing, all great tools. But this time we're going to use the patch tool. So you want to go and select this area here. So just click and hold and select the area you want to remove and take this area and drag it somewhere where you want that area, the dark area, to be replaced with. So let's say this, okay? And then to remove the marching ants is Command D. So this is how it was before and after. Now you can see that there's still a little bit of the dark tones here and here, so it's not done. So I want to go maybe one more time and just select a little bit again, and then this little area here, select it from here. Okay, so this is how it was before and after, Now let's do this eye. The same way we go, select and drag it. Let's see over here. You see how this little edge over here didn't get selected? So go, select. I have a lot of control with the patch tool. I can just go over here and remove this little owie. Owie's on her beautiful face. Okay, so this is how it was before and after. Now, to me, that's a little bit it doesn't look natural. So what I can do is my opacity, I want to make sure that I have this layer selected here. So if I go in a background, I can't change the opacity. But if I select this layer, my opacity, I can change it. So now it's 100. So let's see what happens if I go to 40. Look at her eyes, what's happening. So let's say for a natural look, I would choose maybe that opacity. So you can see that they're gone. Just a very natural look. Okay, so now what you want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure that you always flatten your image before you run any action. If you don't flatten your image, you'll get all kind of error messages. So you want to make sure you always work with your background. So now we want to remove a little bit of her red tones. So let's say goodbye red face. Okay. And it tells us what we want to do. So again, I made some videos before, but if this is your first video you're watching, you want to make sure that you take a white brush. Again, white reveals, black conceals. This black conceals every layer here that we have. So to reveal all these layers, we want to take a white brush. And if you press D on your keyboard, it will just default it to white and black. And if you press X on your keyboard, it switches between black and white. Sorry. Okay, so we want white brush. And now we have the patch tool selected. We want to make sure that we select the brush. And I hit B on my keyboard, or you can just select that. And then with opacity, we set 80%. And it really depends, sometimes I have it 80%, sometimes I have it lower. It just depends on how much redness I want to take out. So let's go ahead and paint. So you see her complexion has a yellow undertone. And her skin, we removed the redness, but there's a lot of yellow coming up, and I don't want that. So what I want to do is go back to my action. So if it was closed, your action would look like this. If you want to open it, just click this little arrow and it will open. You want to turn off the warm tone layer, and then you want to go to your hue and saturation, highlight it, and either decrease it. You see what happens to her face? See, ooh, that's not good. Yeah, but I'm just showing you what you can do. Okay, so either decreasing to 8% or just turn it off completely. 8% I think it's good. I do want a little bit of warm tones. Oops, see what I was doing? I was just painting on this, which was not doing anything. So I want to go back. If we did that, you always have to remember, you want to go back on the actual action, and you're going to go ahead and paint again. So you see how the yellow tones are not coming out anymore because we turned them off here and we lowered the opacity of the hue and saturation. So we're going to paint again. And again, sometimes I get distracted and I forget, where did I paint, where did I not paint? And I want to press the backsplash key. It's right about the return on your keyboard. It helps me. So if I was working a picture and I went and I can't remember where I left off, this is a great guideline, and it tells me where I painted and where I didn't paint. So, okay, paint it here. Okay, and then to go back to the original picture, you just want to press the backsplash again. So let's see what Goodbye Red Face did. So it's before and after. See, very nice smooth tones. Now if we want, maybe I want a little bit more light on her face. Want to make sure you go on the lighten up. You want to select that, and then the opacity is turned to 21. You can increase the opacity, and look what happens to her face. See how it lightens up? So let's say that we want, you know, like this part of her face needs more light, but this one doesn't need more light. So let's, I mean, this is a little bit too much light, but just let's pretend that, okay, I want light on this side, but not on this side. I want to have this layer selected, the lighten up. So because this is white, I want to go and take a black brush. So X on my keyboard. So what I want to do is now I want to hide. So this one revealed, but now I want to hide the light. So look what happens. I'm hiding the light. I'm just hiding that layer. So I say I don't want it on her arms. So you have control. You say, you know, I want more, you know, I don't want so much light here. So you have control with this action where you want every single layer to show and where you want it not to show. So again, let's go and finish it. Okay, so let's see. Again, her face is has a little bit too much light, so it's just showing you how to use it. Okay, make sure you zoom out and see we forgot this little part here. Oops, did you see what happened? I forgot. I was nothing, I mean, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just painting white on white, which nothing happens, but I had this layer highlighted and nothing was happening when I was clicking here. So go back here and see how that happens there. You learn from my mistakes too. Okay, so that's how it was before and after. Looks like over here, right above her eye, I would like a little bit more, like right there, the contrast was. So I like it that way. Now, if you feel like that removed too much red, you can always adjust the opacity of the entire action. See? Okay. That's 36%, 50, 76. You have a lot of control over how you want, how your pictures are going to look. So there's Goodbye Red Face. So again, before you run your next action, you want to make sure you either flatten your image or go back and select your background. If you forget and you have your goodbye red face highlighted, you're going to get some error messages. So let's select background, then skin glow. Okay, and it tells us what we need to do. Hit continue. And again, we have a black mask over here. We want to make sure we have a white brush. Opacity set to 80%, and it depends. If you have somebody that doesn't need a lot of their skin smoothened out, you want to go to, let's say, 50% or so, like boys or young men. You don't want their skin to look plasticky. Okay, so let's say, well, not that. Okay, there we go, 78%. Okay, so we want to paint. And see, as I paint, I can see that this is a little bit too much. Her skin is very nice already to start with. So I can see that her skin looks a little bit fake if I was to leave it at 95% opacity. But what I can do is I can go here and say, okay, let's just take this down to about 73 or so. So before and after. So that looks a little bit more natural. I like that. So with my actions, what I do is I do small changes, but then like every single step I do small changes, but then at the end the picture still looks very different than what we started with. So we don't want any dramatic changes right away. Okay, now I want to paint over her neck a little bit and just over her arms, because if we were to leave it as is, you see the contrast. Her skin, her face is smooth and her arms are just not as smooth, but we don't want her arms as smooth, so we want to reduce the opacity of our brush and just paint with maybe 40%. Go ahead, and again, you can push the backsplash and it will show you where you have painted and where you have not painted. Okay. I usually don't try not to paint over the natural lines, the body, the creases. Okay, so let's see. This is the picture. Okay, this is how we started, and this is after. Well, that's after the skin glow, but if we wanted to see the goodbye red face and skin glow, what it did to our picture, you want to push Option on your keyboard and press on this little eye here. So this is how it's before, and this is how it's after. And again, if you feel like there's too much light or too much redness taken out, even now I can go back and say, okay, maybe I took too much redness out, so let's go ahead and have this at 50%. So that way it looks a little bit more natural. Her skin has an olive tone to it, so you don't want to remove that and make it all white. So that's how I would remove the dark circles. Actually is not here, so let's see what you want to do to see how I remove this dark circles too. You want to do a history, make a picture of a snapshot of how this layers affected your picture. Go all the way here. I have some snapshots here too. So this is the original one. See the dark circles under their eyes? And this is after, before and after. It's just beautiful. I wanted to show you guys how to use the like one other action on this, but it looks like now it's have 15 minutes on the video, and it's gonna be hard to upload. So I will use the same picture, and I'll follow up with another video. Thank you so much, guys.